Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast Young Blonde Suburban. I'm your host, Kaitlin Files. I'm a young, white, female-identifying lawyer who lives in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, outside of Philly. This podcast runs as a sister show to Young Black Suburban, hosted by Tim Witherspoon Jr. The Young Suburban podcast hosts guests to engage in conversation about their different life journeys and perspectives. My show, Young Blonde, has a special focus on badass babes out there doing the damn thing. So welcome and thank you for tuning in. Let's jump into today's episode. All right, everyone, welcome back. Hi, Naja. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Thank you so much for being on here. And Naja Allen is your full name, correct?
Yes.
Well, thanks for being a guest today on Young Blonde Suburban. I'm very excited to have you.
Thank you.
So I wanted to have you on because you're doing something pretty awesome in Philadelphia. So I wanted to talk about your project and the organization that you've started, as well as your journey to get to where you are today. You're young.
Okay. Well, I just turned 25 2 weeks ago.
You're so young. I love it. You're doing so much already. So young.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
So originally I'm from Philadelphia, but I live in Montgomery County, Willow Grove.
Currently?
Yeah.
What part of Philly did you grow up in?
North Philly, North Philadelphia.
Okay.
So near like Sixth Semester, Thompson Street, like in the lower, like North Philadelphia area.
Okay. And we actually connected through Instagram.
Correct.
Yeah. I think my firm posted something about being anti-racist and wanting to live in an anti-racist world, and you liked it or something, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna talk to her.
Yeah, I reacted to it, I think with the clapping hands or something in agreement to it.
Yeah. And it's, sometimes you see organizations on the social media platforms, but they're not actually engaging. And so when you actually engaged back and forth, I was like, oh cool, I'm gonna message her and see what's up. And
yeah,
talking to you was really awesome to hear about your story, and awesome about what you want to do. So tell us about, let's talk about what you want to do in Phil, what you're doing with Saving Grace for Girls.
Okay. Saving Grace for Girls is an organization that I've been wanting to do years ago, but life happened. So I never really kind of took that leap of faith to do it. But it's an organization that I started for girls who is similar to me in my background, at risk youth, adolescent girls, ages 12 to 18, that's on their own or don't live, your typical lifestyle with mom, dad in the home, or a parent that's stable and things like that. These are kids that is in the foster care system or runaways, at risk youth, have been abused, traumatized, anything like that. That's why I built the organization, so that they can kind of have a safe zone. And what really pushed me to go full throttle with it was when COVID happened, because it's now they don't have that safe zone. Right. I used to work in the mental health field with girls just like that. They had mental health and behavioral disabilities, and I was their safe zone. I was able to create a program similar to this, but within the school setting, where I would meet with them every Tuesday and Thursday in the school library during their lunchtime. And we would talk about different topics. We'll talk about things like self-esteem, or we'll talk about peer pressure, relationships, safe sex, how to stay focused in school, how to get through their life struggles and things. Because a lot of times people don't really feel like kids or younger children have reasons to be stressed or reasons to feel the way they do, because it's you're a child, you don't have no responsibilities, but all in all, they go through things too. In the generation that we're in right now, it's totally different from even when I was younger, and I'm not that old. This social media has really taken a toll on them, and a lot of kids are being cyberbullied or peer pressure to believe that they have to be a certain way, do certain things, or live a certain lifestyle. And I just wanted to create that safe zone for them to really push them to their full potential, because they already counted out by being in a situation that they are being less fortunate, or being a child who has anger problems, a teen mom, things like that. People are going to look at them as if you're not going to be anything. You're just going to fall right into the statistics and be nothing. So I created an organization to really push them through that.
And this is something you mentioned that you have a background in, you
Correct.
grew up in foster care?
No, I didn't grow up in foster care, but I've been on my own since I was about, I would say 14 is when I got my first job. I got my first summer job, and I was still at home with my mom, but I was really independent. So by the age of 15 was when I moved out. Like it just wasn't seeing eye, and it was a situation where my brother had died in the house that we were living in. So something happened with the landlord, I believe, and then she just didn't want to stay at the house anymore. So she literally just set me down on the bed and was like, I'm getting older and I'm going into this senior citizen home. Like, you're going to have to find somewhere to go. And it's like, at 15, what do you say to that? Like, I don't have nothing.
Yeah.
I'm only years old. So I went and stayed with one of my friends that I didn't even know that long. That's still like my best friend till this day. We're really close. And she was in a similar situation as well, but she was still home with her mom. But her mom was not like active and things like that. She was independent as well. And I ended up staying with her for a few months while we were still in high school together. But that situation didn't work out that long because I was paying her mom rent because I was working. But it was like, I was working at like a breakfast store, McDonald's, little jobs, like making little money, but I still was responsible. So I knew like I didn't want to stay in this lady's house for free. Right. So I would pay her what I can every month. And I'm thinking she's putting it towards her bills. But the whole time, I don't know what she was doing with the money, because by the time I turned 16, she told me and my friend, like, y'all have to find somewhere to go because I'm getting evicted.
Wow.
So,
and you're in high school. You're still in school.
High school.
You're going through high school and you're working a job, you're paying rent, and
2 jobs.
You were working 2 jobs, and you didn't have the family support at home. No. And then you get kicked out of where you had found a safe space to be.
Yes.
Okay.
And she told us that she was getting evicted, and she decided to like start all over again in Atlanta, Georgia, with some man. So me and my friend was literally on our own, and she was just like, let's move together. But that didn't work out because she was already in the foster care system before. So she was still kind of acquainted with some of the people who helped her, and they was able to get her placed in a home, like independent living type of thing. Right. And they paid like her rent for free and everything. So I couldn't go with her. So I was just on my own. So what I did was,
You were 16 at the time?
I was 16 at the time. Yep. So I went and started looking on Craigslist and like the, little websites to look for like the student rooms, but they required you to be 18. So I did find a landlord, and I lied and I told him that I was 18, but I had like my rent money up front, like I was saving, and I paid him 6 months up front for the room. I think the room at the time was like $375. So I paid him 6 months in advance. So he kind of thought like, okay, she really 18, because what 16-year-old is going to be this responsible. But over time, like, he found out that I was lying, but I was already a good tenant, and I explained to him why I did it, and he just let me stay. And he was actually like encouraging me to stay longer, but I already had plans to go, off to college and whatever. So I stayed there from 16 until I was finished with high school at 18.
Okay. And then you just mentioned college. You went on to college?
Yeah. So
very impressive.
My 12th grade year, I already had like a lot of credit. So I only had 2 classes once I got to 12th grade. So I was done for the day at like 10:30. So I would leave school at 10:30 and go straight to work like from 11 to like 8 o'clock at night. And I applied for one college because I told myself, if I don't get into this college, I'm just going to keep working, because it's like, that's all I knew. When you have a lifestyle that you're living in survival mode, you don't think like you're going to college and you're going to live the lifestyle that every fortunate kid lives. Like, college now, I feel like, is a popular thing. Everybody wants to go to college now. But at that time, that was something that was looked at for like, the rich people or the people with parents,
privilege,
background. Yeah, the privileged kids. So it's like, I was just like, I'm going to just apply to this one college, and if I don't get in, I'm just going to keep working, because that's really where I wanted to go, which was Penn State University. And I applied. My school counselor like helped me apply and everything with my FAFSA and things. And then when I got my offer letter, like, I cried so bad, because I just couldn't believe that I got in, and I knew that this was like my way out. Like, oh my God, like, my troubles is about to come to an end, because I'm going to be in a different, like, environment and things like that. So
That's amazing. I mean, it's such an impressive story because you had to get all of this strength and resiliency from yourself. It doesn't sound like you really had a support system.
No. And the thing is, my family ended up showing up at my high school graduation. Like from the time I left home with my mom up until the time I graduated, I was not talking to nobody. I was literally like out here, just me and my best friend. Like it was just us. I didn't really have a lot of people that I was talking to and things like that because we had our own issues going on and I just was over it. Like I had to get my life together at 16. So
yeah,
they showed up at my high school graduation with like flowers and telling me like, you know, how proud they were because I was the first one to graduate high school. So I forgave them and I kind of like, you know, accepted the gifts and things, but it still was like, I'm still starting a whole new life now and y'all really not going to see me. Right. But it was what it was. I was just happy to be able to get away.
I mean, I have to tell you from someone who grew up with privilege, when I was 16, I was not doing anything close to what you were capable of doing on your own. And I think most kids with privilege would actually be astounded with the amount of strength and maturity you had at the age of 16. And it's just something that when you're living in a privileged bubble, which I live in, I grew up in Bucks County, a very privileged area. You don't see it.
Yeah.
You don't see what
you don't, because I live up here now and it's like my daughter goes to school in Bucks County. She goes to school Southampton, PA. Mm-hmm. And it's like all of my family always be like, you know, like she's going to be able to blend well with both sides because she has me who I've experienced the rough patch and she's going to experience that privilege side. So that's good. But it's like seeing that I never had that. So I'm glad that like she can grow up and have that. And even in college, like I knew that I was in a better environment and headed to a better path in life, but it still wasn't your typical lifestyle. Like my friends that I met in college would call their parents like, hey, I'm using your credit card today. We're going to the mall. We're doing this. We're doing it. I still had to work. I had to pay for my books. I had to pay for my expenses. Like I learned how to drive before I went to college. So I had to save up my refund checks to buy my first car because nobody was taking me back and forth. When I come home in the summer, I had to pay for rooms to stay from August until the next semester started or whenever the semester was over. Like for the summer, I had to like pay to come home for the summer and I would have to pay for those rooms. Nobody was there to drive me back and forth to State College to Philadelphia. So it's like, it still wasn't, it was a very good experience, but it still wasn't how I am going to allow my child to experience it. Like she's not going to have to be forced to work 2 jobs while being in college because it's not easy. Like Penn State is not an easy college at all. Like it's a very rigorous university. So you have to be focused as well as being responsible. So it's like, I never really got that break.
Yeah, no, it's so impressive you got in. Penn State's a hard school to get into, especially Penn State, Maine.
That's why everybody could be like, you go to Maine, like, or you go to the I'm like, first part, Maine campus, like.
Yeah, it's very impressive to get into Penn State, Maine, and I think people from this area recognize how impressive that is.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. What did you study when you were at Penn State?
Psychology.
Okay, all right, and then you were there 4 years.
Yeah, well, 3 years, then I came home and I finished online.
Okay. Just recently?
Yes.
Well, congratulations. Are you officially
Thank you.
grad? That's awesome.
Yeah, I went back to Penn State. I'm in school right now. So I'm majoring back in Penn State as well for their master's program.
You're in a master's program?
Yeah.
That's so great. What are you studying?
I don't know. It's clinical psychology, but I kind of want to branch off into something else, but I really haven't like figured it out yet. So I talk like my academic advisors and things like that to assist me. I'm still trying to like figure it out.
Okay, well, that's cool. Well, tell me about, you came back to Philly. When did you start saving grace?
So I started saving grace, I would say around October. That's when I had, maybe September, and then October is when I had my first little sponsored event. I had a baby drive for like mothers in need, and I was cleaning out my daughter's room and she had like a bunch of clothes and stuff, and I wanted to donate it to a shelter, but none of the shelters at the time was accepting it because of COVID. So I I was like, well, what can I do? And I was like, well, maybe I can get people together to like donate clothes and we can give to moms in need, because during COVID, it took a really big toll on some people. So I was like, I know that a lot of people can utilize this stuff, because a lot of her stuff was brand new with tags that she never even wore. And I didn't want it to just go to waste, or I definitely wasn't going to throw it out. And I didn't have anybody to donate it to personally. So I just gathered like a bunch of people in my community and everybody I know to donate clothes, shoes, and some of the stuff I bought brand new, like as far as bottles, pacifiers, wipes, Pampers, things that like, babies need that really should not be passed down. Like you shouldn't pass down a bottle and stuff. Right. So I bought those brand new, and I had it at someone I know, her event space. I had it there, and like a bunch of moms came out and gave them away all the clothes. And for the teen girls that came, because I went to like teen shelters and youth group homes to like pass out the flyers and stuff, they came and I allowed them to like win prizes. So one of them won like a have dinner with me at your restaurant of your choice. Somebody won a facial. Somebody won driving lessons, just things that will really like benefit them. So it was really nice. And I'm going to keep doing it. Like this summer, I'm going to make it like a yearly thing, the annual thing. That was the first one in October last year. This year, I'll probably do it like the end of the summer or something like that.
So you had been working with girls before the fall, before COVID hit, weren't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where were you working with them?
Well, these were girls that I kind of knew personally, like that I grew up with, like younger girls that ended up in the system and things like that. And it wasn't really like I'm working with you because I have an organization type thing. It was like, I'm working with you because I see me and you, and I want you to know that even if you don't have nobody, you can still do it. So that's what pushed me to start bigger. Like, okay, now I can help more girls because I see the effects that I'm having on these girls. Because honestly, I didn't feel like I was doing much. I just felt like I was doing basic stuff. But when they started expressing to me, like, you are like everything to my life and you're really important and I'm really grateful. And I'm like, wow, like this is actually what I needed at that age. Because when I be doing stuff, I don't feel like it's big. Because I just feel like, okay, it's not, I did it, so it's nothing. But in all reality, it's everything to them. So
it is big. I think it's really important that you're doing it. Even something that seems little to you, you're showing up and showing these girls who are going through what you went through that you made it and you did it. And you did it basically on your own. And especially for girls who may not have had or may not have that strength and maturity that you just innately had to see.
And that's what I'm saying. Because now I feel like it's harder to do the things that I've done. Now you can't even get a room without credit. Like you can't even, rooms is renting for apartment prices now. They're not $375 how they were when I was on my own. I've seen a room for $800 and I'm like, really? That's a whole 1-bedroom apartment. Like they're checking credit. They want pay stubs. They want everything. So it's like, they really put a strain on a lot of things. And those type of girls, like what is credit? They don't know what that is. They're not even old enough to establish credit. They don't have anybody to co-sign. Like they're not responsible enough to be on their own. These jobs is not paying enough for them to even support themselves. So like everything is different. So it's a little harder now.
And the things that you're very active on Instagram and I'm following everything you're doing. Mm-hmm. But even things you're doing that I wouldn't even think of, like you were sponsoring those driving lessons. And I would think that kids don't have someone at home to teach them how to drive and they need to learn. So the little things you're doing are going to have big impact in the long run on these girls who are participating. How many girls do you have like working with you in the organization?
So now I would say it's about like 15 girls consistently. Like I'll have girls reaching out to me, but they may be from other places. Like the one girl I sponsored for the $100 giveaway, she's all the way from California, but now she's kind of like acquainted too. Like she wants to be involved and I try to do as much as I can for her as well. But being as though we're like on 2 different sides of the world, it's kind of hard. So I do what I can for her. But as far as the girls here, like once I help them, they'll spread the word to their friends because most times they have friends that's just like them. Like they don't have friends that's privileged or whatever. They're just like them. So it's like they'll contact me and be like, hey, my friend wants to do this, or my friend wants to get in touch with you. She needs your help with this. So it just keeps growing and growing. But my ultimate goal is to have transitional housing, like a group home for them to have some place to call home versus me just meeting up with them and doing what I can for them. So I'm in the process of that now, like getting the paperwork done and finding the building, becoming a nonprofit. But that's really like a tedious progress. So until then, I just do what I can for them.
I mean, it's a huge undertaking to open up something like that. It's awesome.
Yeah, like, you gotta have a whole team for that, and like everything is me. Like I do everything out of pocket. Like I don't get donations or things. Like, I would love to, but I haven't really expanded that big yet. So I just do everything that I can for them now on my own.
And it's something where I don't think everyone realizes that how needed it is. Just hearing that you have 15 girls alone in Philly area, and you probably still have so many more yet to reach.
Many more, and it makes me sad that I can't help them all, because I'll be like, okay, like I'm gonna help you, but like you gotta hold on, because like it's just me. So I'll be having them like have to wait a little bit, or I just do something little, but I want to help all of them. Like,
and right now in COVID, you're having, I think what do you do, weekly like Zoom meetings with them?
Yeah, so I started that. I'm gonna do like weekly Zoom meetings, because they don't have the transportation to like get to me or us meet up and things like that. So I said that we'll have like a weekly Zoom meeting where we'll just talk about different stuff, topics of their choice, so they can have their safe zone. They can meet other girls that's like them, so they can know that they're not alone, and we can just communicate and make sure, like, to check in with their mental health, keep them focused with school, because I know with the virtual learning, like a lot of them tell me it's hard for me to stay focused. I always ask them like, how are your grades? Especially my girls that's in 11th grade, because it's like, this is a crucial year where you have to start thinking about college or whatever else you want to do with your life. So I be telling them like, you gotta focus and things, but it's easier to just tell somebody to focus versus helping them understand why they need to focus. Like, I can tell them all day long, you need to focus, but if it's something that they're not getting or something that's hindering them, then that has to be dealt with.
Yeah, and just creating that safe
meetings. And also, I told you, like, a lot of girls reach out that's not in Philadelphia, so that gives them opportunity to still, be in a loop of things
and to like feel that support. Just as teenage girls, I mean,
exactly,
they go through a lot, and
they do.
It's very tough. And when you feel like you're alone or struggling, it's nice to just have a weekly Zoom you can jump on to see the girls that you can talk to.
Right, because it's like, even though I didn't have the easiest life, some of them, their lifestyles is worse than mine. Like, they go through even more stuff, like sexual abuse and things. Like, thank God I didn't go through that. Like, I had a rough life, but they go through things that really like is heartbreaking. So they need that support and they need that guidance, because half of them are like still in that environment where it's happening, and it's like, what do they do?
It's so awesome that you left to go to college and you're coming back and helping out girls who are going through the same thing, worse, that you went through, and just trying to help them. The transitional home is going to take a lot. When do you hope to open that up?
My goal is like next year. So if I get started on it now, my goal is to like have the building next year, because I'm also into real estate, but like the properties that I purchase is for quick flips and things like that. And like, I'm starting to get into Airbnb, but one of those properties I can use for them. Like, I can get like a triplex or a duplex where maybe the top part could be for them and then the bottom part could be for something else. So I just be implementing different plans to get there. Like, but I know that it's going to happen. I'm just trying to make sure that everything is planned out strategically, because I want to do it right for them.
That's smart. It's a good way to do it. Is this all your side hustle? Are you doing this full time, or it's your
full time? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love it.
Thank you.
So how do you find the girls? Are they getting referred from other girls?
Yeah, like, so most of them are getting referred. Some of them I find when I like do my sponsors on like the ads that I run on Instagram, Facebook. Sometimes I'll just walk around and just like go to the youth shelters and see like, hey, can I talk to them? Or could you give out this flyer? Could you tell them about this, what I got going on? So it'd be like word of mouth, and maybe from the other girls or other people who knows what I'm doing, who really like supports it and really like encourages me and pushes me to keep doing it, because they understand that this is a necessity. So it would be like word of mouth.
What's going to be the best way for people to help you? Is it going to be getting donations once the transitional home is going?
Yeah, I would say that, because I always constantly come up with ideas of what I want to do for them. Like, I want to do things like take them to different colleges to do like a college tour. I told you about the group night, the girl over that I want to do, they're going to need things for that, because I want them to be able to like have a weekend that's for them, like get their nails done, their toes, or like we can even have a spa day where we do each other's. Like some of my girls want to do hair when they get out of college, or they want to do hair now. So like I told them I would let them practice on the other girls if they're up to it. Like the movie theaters is not really open, and I try to see like places they never been where I can take them, like maybe New York, and like to see other things, because when you just used to seeing Philadelphia, and 9 times out of 10 they're not in the counties like us, they're in Philadelphia, like they see a lot of stuff that they should not be exposed to. That's all they know. That's all they know. They're stigmatized to that. Like they don't see no other way out. And I was like that until I went to Penn State. I started seeing the better life, and I was like, I want more. And now that I travel, it's like I don't even want to come back to Philadelphia like sometimes because it's totally different. They don't have that yet. They've never been anywhere. They don't know nothing. All they know is get up and see the same thing, do the same thing, and the people around them is doing it too. So I just want to give them something different. So for the girls' night, I'm definitely going to need donations for that. I will even take donations for the driving lessons, because originally I was going to do 2 girls, but so many like girls reached out and was interested, and it's like it's really a necessity for them to have their permit and learn how to drive. So I want to do that too. It's just be a lot of stuff that I be wanting to do. So I would feel like donations and like word of mouth and whatever you can like contribute would definitely help out a lot.
Yeah. I mean, you're hustling a ton. You have a lot of awesome ideas for these girls. I love it. And we already met with Jenna, who was actually on the podcast 2 weeks ago, and talking about getting involved. So we're going to do everything we can to keep promoting you, keep you going, because it's awesome. Oh my gosh, happy to help.
Yes, I was so happy when you messaged me, because I was like I don't want it to be like a thing where it's like, oh, like this is just for Black people. Like I don't want it to be like that, because it's white girls and Hispanic and other races who still go through the same thing, but they see me now, like, and they probably be like, well, she can't relate to me. Like a lot of my girls tell me that, like in the beginning, I didn't think like you've been through nothing, because they see the now, like they see the nice cars, they see the nice clothes, they see like, oh, she's helping us, so she don't really understand our struggles anyway, so we're not going to open up. So you got to build that rapport with them and really pour into them and let them know like this was me too. Like you got to let them know that, because they don't be thinking it. They see me and think I have it all together. Like, oh, you went to college, you did this, you did that. Like you don't understand what I'm going through. And it's like, I do, because I was you at one point. So
it's true. It's true. And like little girls do need to see that. They really do need to be connected with, especially when they're going through it. And I think no one else understands.
No one else. Yeah.
That's true.
Like I have one of my girls, like she talks to me all the time, and like she wrote me like this long message and was just like, I tell you things that I can't even talk to my mom about. Like I don't talk to nobody. Like when something happens, like you're the first person I call. And I'm like, wow, like that's what keeps me going. Cause sometimes I can get sidetracked with life or doing other things, and they'll like bring me back. Like, okay, I have to continue to do this because they need me. Like they really do need that support.
That's so awesome. I love what you're doing. I'm so happy you were here with us today.
Me too.
I know. I can't wait to promote this. Naja, we always close the episode with asking a question of everyone. So what brings you joy?
What brings me joy and the self-rewarding feeling is being able to help someone who is going through something. Like even if it's having a bad day, like the whole month of March, I dedicated myself to doing something to make another person's day. Like I would pay for the person's food behind me. Every Friday I would pay for the person's food behind me wherever I stop. So I go to Starbucks a lot, so I'll just pay for their food. And like one day this guy, like he had to catch up to me in traffic because my music was blasting. I was having a whole concert in the car. But he was like so happy. Yes, he was so happy that like I did that. He thanked me. He tried to like give me the money back and stuff, but I was like, no. So I just would say what brings me joy is making other people happy, specifically youth girls though, because like youth girls that was like me, because it's so easy to just constantly feel down when you're going through so much. So that's really what brings me joy, is making other people feel happy and motivating them and speaking life into them, making them feel like, okay, I have one more day of fighting, like another fighting chance.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. That was so beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Naja. And I hope Saving Grace for Girls really takes off, and we'll be working together a lot in the future.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
All right. See you, Naja. happy I was able to connect with Naja. The power of social media. She is out there doing awesome things. I loved when she talked. I mean, as a female, I remember what it was like being a teenage girl. And as I said on the show, I do come from a place of privilege. So I didn't experience a lot of the difficulties that Naja went through. But in general, young girls do experience a lot of pressure. Young kids, too. Young boys do as well. And I think she was spot on when she said that most adults dismiss kids as if they don't have real stressors or real problems. And it's really hard to watch a child go through something and get dismissed by an adult as if it doesn't really matter. So what she's doing, which is recognizing them and seeing them. A lot of kids just need to be seen. And what she's providing for them is so, so awesome. And Naja herself, I mean, she is resilient. I think I saw a meme one time that said, privilege is when the person next to you doesn't have privilege, has all of these hurdles in their way while you're trying to complete the same race and you don't have the hurdles in front of you. And you can see that with Naja's story. She got through everything. I mean, unbelievably from the age of 14 on, and accomplished what most kids with privilege are just handed to them. And she did it despite all of the obstacles that were put in her way. And I think her story is a perfect one to actually see kids who come from privilege, to see what someone who is the same age as you went through to get to where you are today, when you were just kind of handed everything with a support system, with money, with a family life and home that a lot of kids don't have out there. I also love that she, with her saving grace for girls, she mentioned this near the end, is that it's not just for young Black girls or young girls that look like her. She said it was for any young girl who is struggling. And it's that inclusivity and reaching across race lines that's so important for our world to be a better place, that we recognize that we are all the same, no matter what we look like, and we all need help. I love that she is spreading grace and goodness by being just such a positive force. She's acting as a support, a role model for any girl who needs it. We need more people like Naja out there. I'm so happy to have met her and so proud of what she's doing. And I hope if anyone hears this and want to get out and get involved with her, it's Saving Grace for Girls. You can find her on Instagram. She's very active. She's constantly posting things for her young girls to get involved in. She's asking for donations and for support, providing basic things for them like driving lessons, which, again, growing up, I didn't have to think twice about driving lessons, but a lot of kids don't have that access. So look her up on Instagram, go support her, and everyone should spread a little grace and goodness today, just like Naja does. So thanks for listening, and we will catch you next time on the next show. Have a good one.